All right, and welcome to another exciting adventure of the Incredible Hoax. What is that behind me? Is that my clothes? It's so hard to see. Yeah, that's just my clothes. I don't think I have anything embarrassing to show back there, do I? I don't think so. All my underwear's over there.
We put up the sex toys earlier.
Yeah. I think the Black Mamba's been safely put away.
The swing and the...
the hanging love basket.
Right.
All right, I'm Chris.
I'm Mark.
And you're here with Sex Chat. We talk about movies today.
Yes.
Our issue is Fault in Our Stars. I'm going to let you set this one up because this one's kind of your baby. But we're going to talk about it in two halves. We're going to introduce the first half.
Okay.
The young adult half.
I thought an interesting happened this summer in June.
Okay.
Tom Cruise, big star for 25 years, right?
Since
big star forever. Since Top Gun.
Risky business.
Risky business. Put him on, that was 1983 or 84 or something like that. So he's been big for a long time. That's 30 years. Good
dun, 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 where he slides in.
Yeah. Well, an interesting thing happens. He stars in Edge of Tomorrow, big budget film.
Mm-hmm. Great film, by the way.
And it was really good. And it is released the same weekend as a young adult romance film called The Fault in Our Stars. Now, it's a best-selling book, so I know that. The movie comes out, and it doesn't just beat Edge of Tomorrow by a little bit.
Beat the shit out of it.
It clobbered it. And
box office results.
And I was really scratching my head on that. I'm like, well, is this a generational thing? This is where we're going. I was like, is this a generational shift? Are the young generation, are they not in action movies? Is young adult romance movies that big? I was questioning what was going on. Is Tom Cruise finally his era over? What happened here? Because it just seemed to me such a huge thumping and a rejection of a movie that was pretty good. And it just was so odd that a movie that was just a simple drama would just totally demolish this big budget action movie. And we started talking about it, and you had some thoughts.
Well, before I make my thought,
okay,
you had kind of said this signified a beginning to an end.
Well, I was questioning.
Questioning the end. So I want to make sure that we're talking about that specifically.
Yeah.
And I felt in that scenario, that very specific scenario, it was not that broad of a event, for lack of a better word.
Okay.
I thought that The Fault in Our Stars, actually, my daughter Paula, who's 15, she had read the book. The reason she had read the book is because she was a fan of the author's YouTube vlog, his video channel.
Ah.
So she had been following him on YouTube. She followed him so much on YouTube, she went out and read the book. When she heard there was a movie come out, she wanted to be the first one. She went to the midnight premiere of the movie, of a freaking drama, a midnight premiere for a drama.
Yeah, for a drama. Yeah.
So I think it was not a broad-based statement or event that signified any sort of cultural change. I don't think it was that at all. I think it was a very specific event where you had a book that was very successful to a niche, 15-year-old girls. They had been primed for it through YouTube, which, keep in mind, that if there's any cultural event here to talk about, it's probably YouTube. My oldest kids, 19 years old and 15-year-olds, they watch YouTube the same way you and I used to watch MTV and VH1. They watch YouTube like it's a network. Like it's USA, FX, Fox, what have you.
Okay. Social media certainly has an impact.
So they watch it like it's a cable channel. Okay? So her becoming a fan of this YouTube vlogger, that's like becoming a fan of Bono or Janet Jackson or whatever. She became a fan of this personality. So his work hits the screens. She's primed. So to go watch it. And she was not the only one. And they're not, there's a whole plethora of girls who were primed to go see it. Mm-hmm. So I think the cultural significance was not Fault in Our Stars versus a sci-fi epic, or young adult versus Tom Cruise, or anything like that.
Okay.
I think the event that had happened was YouTube had prevailed and saturated and marketed to these girls so heavily, and the book, that they were just, it had to happen. They had to go see this movie. And if you notice, you go back and look at the results, it had a huge opening weekend, and then it tapered off dramatically. And I bet you the final box office results between Fault in Our Stars and Edge of Tomorrow ain't that different. I think Edge of Tomorrow is probably right at 100. Fault in Our Stars probably about 140, which ain't. That's one more good weekend.
Domestic,
domestic. And I
you
bet
might
you,
be right,
I guarantee you, foreign's closer. I guarantee you, foreign's got to be closer. Because there ain't no way the Chinese went and lined up for Fault in Our Stars as much as they lined up for Edge of Tomorrow.
Well, it actually broke a... I'm thinking of the wrong movie. Scratch that.
Anyway, so I don't think it was an event of, like I said, sci-fi versus young adult or Tom Cruise versus whatever. I think the event was how the market shifted to these kids are in tune with YouTube and social media. That's the real event that happened. And I said I have a little bit different insight because I got a 15-year-old daughter. So,
that's okay. That's interesting, but you do wonder if and I don't have the answers. I'm just wondering. I just thought it was such a.
They got drummed.
I mean, it was just so surprising. It was such an unlikely thing to happen. I thought. It really got my attention. The thing about War of the Worlds years ago with Tom Cruise in 2006, there was an oversaturation of Tom at the time, with all the
couch.
The couch thing on Ellen's show, and everybody was making a big deal about his religion and all that. And so it just seemed like he got oversaturated. And so War of the Worlds was a box office disappointment. It made money, folks. It made money. But it was kind of seen as a bit of a disappointment. And but this time around, there's not been all this oversaturation of Cruise in a long time. So you're thinking, well,
he did have the divorce.
Well, there was the divorce.
Yeah.
Well, you don't think it had anything to do with it, do you?
I doubt. Well, here's the thing. Tom Cruise, and I want to say this for part 2.
Okay.
We'll save that for part 2. We'll save the Tom Cruise discussion for part 2.
Well, can I just say, though, that time...
I was like, I thought for a second, did I just kill the show? All right, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, Tom Cruise he's had a level of excellence for many, many years.
Yeah.
And if he has a bad movie or an off movie, usually he's not down long at all.
Oh, no.
He's usually is able to bounce back. So folks that haven't seen Edge of Tomorrow or Live, Die, Repeat as it's been renamed, most people should enjoy it. It was a good movie.
Still my favorite movie of the year. Edge of Tomorrow was when I saw it, and still remains my favorite movie. It's just a freaking good movie. It was thoroughly entertained from beginning to end.
Right.
I just had a good time watching it. I enjoyed it on every level, action and comedy, and just a neat storyline, and the acting was good, and Tom Cruise. People make fun of Tom Cruise because he's always Tom Cruise in his movies. Well, I like Tom Cruise, so I'm okay that he's Tom Cruise in every movie. They don't say that about John Wayne and Clint Eastwood.
No.
Why does it got to be different for him? So anyway, I like how he's cowardly in the beginning, and by the end of it, he's just he's made that character arc or whatever.
Right.
I just enjoyed it. There's nothing about the movie. It was like one of those movies I had no complaints about. Like I just enjoyed it. I love the ending. I love the very ending. I just loved all of it. So I don't think, and I think the domestic numbers were probably a disappointment, but I think foreign box office did fine. I think it's doing pretty good on video, for that matter. And everybody I know that's seen it's liked. I haven't met anybody or heard anybody that didn't like it. So I think it's done well. It'll have lasting power.
You think it'll catch on?
It'll have lasting power. I think so. I think as much as anything else will. And so again, I know I'm repeating myself, but I don't think it was an event of that movie or Tom Cruise versus that movie. I think the real lesson was how prevalent social media, YouTube is on the buying power of 25 and under.
Well, it must be said as our last word before we got to go is I don't mean to denigrate The Fault in Our Stars. It's actually a good movie. I give it 3 stars.
I haven't even seen it.
It's a good movie. So this is not a how did this lowly movie beat this great movie? That's not really, that was not the debate we're having. It was actually 2 good movies, but this guy who had a history of big box office success didn't this time around. And that's why I was questioning what happened here.
Right. On paper, Edge of Tomorrow should beat at the box office Fault in Our Stars. It's just
history said it should have been the big box office, with Fault in Our Stars being a distant 2.
I graduated in 94. You graduated 89. So put it in our context when we were younger.
Mm-hmm.
Terminator 2 would not lose at the box office to Steel Magnolias.
No.
That would be unheard of. That would never happen.
Not happen.
So now for that to happen years later, from our context, our point of view, we're like, that's what?
Yeah.
That's weird.
It was a bit of a culture shock.
Yeah, it was a culture shock.
I'm like, well, wait a minute. But
and that's what I'm saying. That's where the culture changed. I think that where the culture change was on YouTube.
And recently, I went and saw the film Interstellar, and it was its Friday premiere. I went and saw it, and there literally was, in addition to me, 4 other people under the age of 50. Everyone else in there, and the theater was like 75% full. Everyone else was all like over 50. And I thought that was so strange. In our day, for a sci-fi film, it was no one was over 30 in there.
No, man, no.
Especially on opening day, for heaven's sakes. So I just wonder if sci-fi, that could be another part for part 2. Maybe sci-fi is not that big anymore. I don't know.
That's something I'm not even prepared yet to even address that. All right. Then we're going to move on to part 2. There actually is a part 2 to the Fault in Our Stars debate. So, see you in a minute.